that? The panic in your face.
What the fuck was that?
Was that the...
Yeah, do you want to have a look inside?
No. Not really. Yeah, I know. No windscreen is smashed, it's okay. There is method to his madness here. Wait and see. You have fun.
Could have done with it being a bit shorter.
Stay there. It's alright, I'm just doing a video. You won't be in it. Unless you want to be, it's up to you. So when we started bringing this car in, we just put random ass front suspension and stuff on it. So I've got to take that all off now, annoying, and swap it over with Henry's car at the back because he's upgrading all of his. So I get all the hand-me-downs, which I don't mind. So yeah, let's do this. So I'll just give you a little talk through what I'm doing. I've tried to speed this up so it's as quick as possible, not so boring, but also not so quick that you can't actually see what I'm doing. Just taking off the wheels. They're actually the RAV wheels now. I bought these years ago. It was one of the first things I bought for the car. And my taste has completely changed and I've donated them to the RAV because they look wicked on the RAV. So the things I'm keeping on this is just the coilovers and the steering rack. Everything else is coming off, so I can take it off as a whole because I'm pinching basically everything off of Henry's car apart from the front subframe because we've got another one. The subframe that's on it at the minute in this video is a Stagia subframe. I have no idea why we put that on, but we did. I think I was just too excited and I just wanted it outside as quickly as possible, so we just chucked that on really quickly. So I've got to swap that over with an SR21 when Henry's moved the steering rack forward, and then everything else off of Henry's car apart from the coilovers is what I am pinching because he's got cut unwelded, cut and extended lower arms and longer tie rods. And the tie rods off of this is, well, they must be standard S14 ones because they're really short. So I'm just plonking everything, all the nuts and bolts back on just so I don't lose them because they're thread specific, and we do have BMWs here and they've got different threads and it gets really complicated trying to find the right threads. So I'm just on this side, just undoing everything. I don't know why everything's so tight. I literally did it finger tight because I knew it was coming all back off again and it just needed to move from one room to the other, but apparently that just still made it quite tight. This is fun. That's a wheel nut. So I in my excitement I just used a wheel nut as a nut, because a nut is a nut when I was moving my car in that case. I was just dropping everything down. So I'm just taking off the steering rack. Obviously it's attached to the Stagia subframe, which they're similar but they're also very different at the same time. Like obviously it just bolts straight on, but it's not quite the right shape. And for the 1J going in we needed SR20s. We've got SR20 mounts, 1J SR20 subframe mounts. Can't get my words out. I chopped a lot out of this video because this was so stubborn to get off. I was the one who did it up and I have no idea how or why I did it so tight. But yeah, they're quite tricky to undo anyway, just the angle, and I couldn't really see what I was doing. It's a lot easier on a ramp, but I am on the floor, so I dealt with what I had. Eventually got it all undone. It was very frustrating. Then we're swapping all of that over. I'm nicking all of Henry's front brakes as well. So I won't be keeping any of those brakes. So I can take all of this off just as one whole unit, which is nice and easy. So once I've got that off, I can slide that out. It's very stubborn. Normally they just fall off, This one was not having it. Which is mad, because I only put it on like a few weeks ago. Off you go, mate. So now I'm just using some bits of wood, because I didn't want it just sort of clanging on the floor. Also, I only had it on done up on one nut on each side. Just because, well, yeah, it was coming off again, so I couldn't really be bothered. So I'm just undoing it so that it just drops down onto that wood. And then I can slide it all out as one. Nice and easy. So as you can hear in the background, Henry is relocating the front subframe. Usual drift car things. I'll do a few little videos on it. I've taken the front of my car off. Great success. I've got to take the front of Henry's off and apart. Don't know how easy all that stuff's going to come off. So might be good footage. Might be shit. Who knows? Could be funny though. But I'm currently doing customer work, so I won't be filming that because it's boring because I'm sanding.
So basically what I'm doing, I'm not going to start it like so basically, because I always say that. What I'm doing is moving the steering rack forward. It's quite a common thing on Nissans to have to like get a bit more, I don't know how to describe it basically, but because the steering rack mounts behind the subframe, the tie rods go to like the back of the knuckle, whereas on most other cars like on BMW, the rack mounts in the front. So like the tie rods go to the front of the knuckle, and like one of the main problems on Nissans is you have over centering, which basically what that means is the tie rods on the steering rack right now would be facing backwards like this to the knuckle, and when you shorten the knuckle to get more lock, then you're making them more in line. And basically what happens is that as it swings past that point of in an arc of motion, then it will get caught the other way. And what over centering basically happens is that when you're nearly on full lock and it goes past that point, then left becomes right and right becomes left. So then you get stuck on full lock. So one way to tackle it is by cutting the subframe in two and then basically just moving the part where the rack mounts. And basically moving the rack part as far forward as you can get. So I've got to keep in mind that the steering rack's still got to fit in here. So the maximum space that you can pretty much move it forward is about 32 mil. And what that does is moves the rack forward, which accounts for your shortening of the knuckles and means that you're less likely to over center. But it doesn't take it away, but it does take a lot of it away. So you have to be in a really unlucky situation to get caught on full lock. Right. If you're ever worried about how much strength you're taking out of this, basically all I've taken out is 2 bits of flimsy sheet metal. The same structure is still there, it's just narrower. So yeah, it could fail technically this way or that way, but the thing is the only force that's ever on it is downwards or left and right. So then you're not weakening it, but if anything you're strengthening it by putting a weld there, because from factory they're only spot welded together. Plus, like, beyond common belief, like the subframe's not actually accountable for really doing much. It's like as a brace, obviously somewhere to mount the engine, somewhere to mount the rack, somewhere to mount the control arms. It's just convenient manufacturers make it in one piece. But on an old-fashioned car, these would all just be mounted on the frame and the subframe wouldn't even exist. But one thing you do have to add is that doing any sort of modification like this does technically mean that the car needs to go under like more safety checks to be road legal. So don't just like cut your subframe in half and weld it up. If you're not a professional welder or anything like that, like you are just going to have to like get advice from someone who does do it often that can basically say if it's good enough, because at the end of the day it is holding the lower control arms and the engine and the steering rack, which is pretty important if you're going to drive down the road. But for like drift practice day or anything like that, I obviously, as like someone that started doing it just by doing it themselves, I can only encourage people to like do these sorts of things yourself. Just go and obviously, if you got a mate who knows what they're doing, get them to have a fucking look. Make sure you're not going to kill anyone. Subframe's done now. Just give you a look at it. It does leave an opening here and an opening there. not really a problem. I mean, you have to remember that a lot of this was spot welded together, so I think it's probably a lot stronger now. You can't move it before anyone wants to be like super clever in the comments. You can't move it any further forward than that because it's going to start striking here. That is literally in line with the subframe, unless you want to modify that section as well, but then it's getting close to other bits of the subframe. For this like a mount to move the rack forward, this is plenty. I mean, the car's going to be like heaps more drivable, and obviously like potential for heaps more lock. One thing that I will say, remember to cut new access holes for these bolts. It's easier to do it when it's in bits, because if you just chop those little bits out, you can just get your bolt up there. It's still tricky because there's not a lot of room now, but you might have to just beat that little ledge, but most of the time you can fiddle it up there. You know, compromise as with any of these sorts of things, but I would always suggest to do this or get someone else to do this as opposed to using offset rack spacers, because they only last like 2 events max, and you have the flappy wheel syndrome. Subframe's done, Dickie. I'm gonna come put it back on.
So now Henry's cleaned the welds up and just painted them. We're just gonna pop it back on now. We're just deciding what way it's gonna be easier. Working on the floor is, yeah, a little bit difficult sometimes. So even though the subframe isn't heavy, clearly, it was a lot easier just plonking it on a jack, so it just stayed put whilst I just put the nuts on. So yeah, I'm just locating it now to make sure it sort of stays in the right place. Just popping the nuts on. Once they are on, then we can remove the axle stands, which is cool. Off we go. So now I've just done them finger tight. Grabbed the gun ready to do them up. So the first one was absolutely fine. Second one just kept spinning, and I didn't understand. I was like, what is going on? He was seeming very confused. So I looked and I was like, don't really get it. Obviously, I was still learning, so I didn't realise what had happened at first. So I just went on the other side and sorted that out. Whilst I was trying to understand why that was just spinning and not doing up, because it should just do up. To the other side, and that's when I realised that yeah, this happened.
No way. Oh. I'll be able to still hold it. Yeah, still hold it.
I know, it's a proper weird shape now. I feel like someone's mangled that in the past.
Yeah, seems like this whole corner of the engine bay is filled with a lot of
So we decided to try and hold it with a spanner, just to see if we could get it to do up, but someone had already tried this in the past, clearly, because it was a bit rounded. Oh, my usual, I can never get the stupid little batteries off that little gun. Cannot do it. Don't know why. Always get bullied for it. That's Snap-on's fault, not mine. Still trying to get it to do up. It was having absolutely none of it. It was basically round at the start, so we were, not really going to get anywhere. What we decided in the end is Henry's going to weld it.
Magically fix itself.
trusty C1. Love that little thing. On our way to pick up some wheels. Come to buy wheels, end up buying more stuff. Still in the shit trip.
We're in Essex again. This time at Ollie Silcock's, spending more money on more stuff that we didn't expect to buy. But he's done us pretty solid. But the S14, we just realised that we haven't actually got any front wheels. Equip 05 on the rear, and I did have some Weds IAA for the front, but they don't really go very well. And Ollie's had PS13 with Equip 05s on for a while, and the fronts, he was running the double stagger 17 by 9.5 and 18 by 12J, which is now what we're going to run, which are pretty stoked for, to be honest. But they are mint, and we'll show you in a minute. But we also got some bargains for the PS13, which we haven't actually shown you guys yet, but yeah, saved me a fortune with some body kit stuff and a fully custom fabbed exhaust, which looks like Ollie spent about fucking 2 months welding it. And it is a work of art, but you know, if you haven't got a 1JZ PS13 anymore, then it's not that useful. So done me a fucking solid favour, so cheers Ollie.
Ollie also gave us some work clips, 17-inch and 18-inch, just as some spares in case we can't
Handle them up to someone else.
Hey, it'll be you. Won't be me.
Nah, it'll be Scott.
What's Scott going into you?
No, it'll probably be the fucking trailer. No, the trailer always damages it.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, that's big
Yeah,
sad.
spare lips. Fucking sweet.
Yeah, thanks Ollie. Much appreciated. At least it's not in front of my face this time, but this is what happens when you go to a drifter's workshop. You don't come back with one thing, you come back with many. And reserve parts in our case. But yeah, at least it's not in front of my face. Bless our little C1. Ooh. Got matching wheels now. Oh wow, I hate this bridge. On the really windy days, you can like feel it moving as you're driving over.
I feel it moving now, and it keeps having to steer to fucking stay in the same line.
Yeah.
Weird.
Rather strange. Where's it you though?
If you look left to right really quick, it makes you feel like you're going to fall off the bridge.
Nice weather. Summer, eh? Yeah, what a strange.
These straight pipe container ships.
Okay, so fast forward a couple of days and we are here. I've had to change the tyres. The Max Sports were just a little bit chonky. So it's now on 215 40 17, yeah, instead of 225 45. So it just wasn't quite the look we were going for. So that is it sitting on its own wheel. Although we need to change that rear tyre because that's on 265. That's again a little bit chonky. Also successfully pinched basically all of Henry's front end. So now his is looking like a skeleton. We've just had the windows taken out of that one, so we can start chopping that one up as well. I need to get some longer tie rods because they're too short, annoyingly. Obviously the engine isn't in yet, clearly. But this is about the ride height that we want it sitting, and then probably quite a lot lower at the back. No, we're just going to fiddle around with it, see what looks best. So it's quite a shallow kit. The car's got to be like genuinely quite low to pull it off, but I'm sure we can do it. It's wicked.
Cripple. Wings are back on, bonnet's back on. There's no bonnet support yet, so hence socket.
Perfect size socket.
But happy with how it's coming on. Starting to look more like a car every time, so happy with that. I'm glad we ended up with some 9Js on the front and not typical 11J 5-inch lip, no steering. Yeah. Yeah. Next video is going to be the engine. Anything to do with getting that into an S14, I'll try and cover it all in one video. I'm going to finish the bay. We've got some metal in now, so I'm going to finish the sheet metal work and hopefully make a headlight support. So next video is going to be a fairly long one, I'm afraid. But please subscribe. Let us know if you want us to show anything in the comments. Because we haven't got a clue what we're doing.
Yeah, please give feedback.
But yeah, next video, engine in there. Happy? Excited?
Yeah. Yeah, I cried last night with this.
Yeah.
I was so happy. I was like overwhelmed by it all.
It was been sat there for 4 years.
That wraps up this video. Make sure, you like and subscribe, like we said. The next video that we're going to be doing is at Castlecombe. That's this Saturday. We're taking the RAV. It's going to be the last show that the RAV does as a RAV4, which is kind of sad, but you know, we move on to bigger and better things. Can't wait to start that project. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a long one, but yeah, hopefully you keep coming back and enjoying all the updates that we do on that, because it's nothing that anyone's ever done before. No one messes with a RAV4. So if you see us at Castlecombe, come and say hello. We'll be probably wearing maybe the jumpers. I don't know. It might be a heat wave. We might have a summer this year. Who knows? But yeah, catch you next one.